Welcome to the All Ball Show, presented by Abstract Sports, where we bring sports back to life. I'm your host, Kyle Clay 2K. In the All Ball Show, we focus on basketball-only content, and to tip things off, I'm covering every single team in the NBA from worst to best in each conference. I'm going to look at their rosters and discuss how I think they're going to perform this upcoming season. For this introductory episode, I'm just going to lay down some ground rules and get the fluffy stuff out of the way so the casual fan can follow along as well. So let's get this thing started. To the super duper fans of basketball, this stuff is probably going to be pretty boring, but I promise you we're going to get into some in-depth stuff in the upcoming episodes. But let's start off with the basics. There are 30 teams in the NBA. There are 2 conferences in the NBA. Split in half, you have the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. In each conference, there are 3 divisions, 5 teams in each division, and they go from Los Angeles to New York, all around the country, as you probably know. Even if you're not a basketball fan, you probably have some understanding of what the sport is like. So I just want to get that out of the way. It won't be too important, but when we get into talking about playoff action and things like that, conference discussions are going to be really important. But as far as the regular season goes, there are 82 games in a regular season. If you're a hockey fan, it lines up pretty well with that season as well. Same length, it's just a week ahead or behind depending on the year. So 82 games in a season, there are 42 games at home, 42 games away, and a good chunk of those are in-conference games so that they can double dip and get a win against somebody and take them down the ladder at the same time. And now, as far as how playoffs work, the last structural change to the NBA playoffs was back in 2016. The top 8 teams in each conference move on to the playoffs, so 8 out of the 15 teams in each conference, and they're ranked in order by win-loss records. The tie-break criteria for playoff seeding and home court advantage have also changed. That was back in 2016. Head-to-head results between the tied teams as the first tiebreaker. So basically, if there was 2 teams who had the same exact record after the regular season was over, however they performed against each other, so say there were 3 games against each other and one team was 2-1, the team who beat the other team twice would move on to the playoffs or get the higher seed in the playoff bracket. And if that tiebreaker doesn't settle it, the team who won its division championship is the second tiebreaker. The next layer of information has to do with home court advantage. So when the top 8 teams from each conference are moving on to the playoffs, they get seeded from number 1 to number 8. The number 1 seed has home court advantage over a number 8 seed. And the way that they determine the matchups for the NBA playoff bracket, the number 1 seed plays the 8 seed, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And the highest seed in those matchups gets the home court advantage all the way throughout the playoffs. And you'll see more information about the playoffs as we move on. But just know that the number 1 through 4 seeds will always have home court advantage over the 5 through 8 seeds throughout the playoffs. And from there, as if you didn't know there were more information about NBA playoff stuff, each matchup in the NBA playoffs consists of 7 games. And this series is broken up into home and away games for each team. The team that has home court advantage gets 4 out of the 7 games at home. And the first 2 would be at home for them, the second 2 would be away, and then the 5th game and the 7th game are at home for the top seeded teams. So with all that being said, I think it's fair to say that the NBA lays out the playoffs in a pretty fair manner. They used to do it in such a way that the top teams in each division go on to the playoffs, and that I believe that was part of the changes that happened back in 2016. And so the fact that they're taking just the best records and then having tiebreakers from there, it really is rewarding the teams who killed it during the regular season. It's a long season, and I think it makes sense to reward those teams who get 60 wins plus. Unlike in the NFL, how you've seen teams with losing records go to the playoffs, it's kind of a buzzkill. I like the way the NBA does it, and I cannot wait for the season to get started. And that does it for the introductory section of the All Ball Show. I hope it didn't bore too many of you, but I know it's important to lay down those things so that when we go through talking about each team, 30 different episodes, I think it's important to have that information in your head and have an episode you can always refer back to if you need more information about how things are going to shake down in the NBA playoffs. If you feel like I missed something in the details about the NBA and the structure of its season and the NBA playoffs, please feel free to drop a comment below and help educate some of the casual fans and point me out on my mistakes. Trust me, I deserve that. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so you can be notified when we drop new episodes about NBA content. I'm your host, Kyle Clay 2K. I'll see you in the next one.